Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for inviting me to say a few words here, Director Petrak. And I thought I'd just throw some pictures together and take us through memory lane here. I don't know how many people realize how significant music has been to the culture of Lehighton. We can go through these pictures, and these are 1940s marching Lehighton Boys Band and Parade. We had many different independent groups. That was my Uncle Bill. I still own this drum here from the 1920s in front in the park. Here's the original men's band, a picture taken in 1864, somewhere probably near the Jersey Central. I don't know how many towns the size of Lehighton that had as many community bands as we have had and still have. And every time you read an article, the Lehighton Men's Band had only 25 out of 40 men in line, but its music was of such a standing order that the judges awarded them first prize anyway. Just rich history. We also had the Orion Cornet Band that functioned for a while in town, won various prizes. His first street parade with a band. Chester Walk and his High Hatters. This was a band in the 1930s. And of course, this is when big band was the popular music at the time. And that's the kind of band, and again, the Patriotic Sons of America Drum Corps, 1906 established. There's the old band shell where the current band municipal building is. There's Bethany Church there in the background, the upper park. Another parade in Lehighton. And then the Lehighton Boys Band, now the Lehighton Boys and Girls Band, of course, start with James Blakslee, was not cheap to outfit a group like this with instruments as well as hats and no hats, etc. And there's James Blakslee, of course, brother-in-law to Asa Packer. And benefactor of Lehighton, Blakslee Boulevard is named after him, even though they spelled it Blakslee Boulevard wrong. He donated the Legion Home. His wife did. It was supposed to be the first hospital in town. He donated the number 2 fire department, as now the police station. Great benefactor, and started, of course, Lehighton Boys Band. So one of the early directors, John Richard Cootle, and this is his son Carl Kulte. They're born in Ohio. A lot of these directors came in, wrote their own music, composed. This is a little article that the son, now an established musician in his own right, a Juilliard-trained musician, started orchestras out west. Carl Kulte, born here. Here he quotes about the band. Really, it was 2 bands in one, a prep band and then a senior band, says Kulte. And it is worth a story in itself. A Pennsylvania millionaire donated the money, etc. He said that every boy in town had a instrument under their arm. The sponsor of the band arranged for private instruction, members of boys themselves being charged only 25 cents per lesson, and many of the players went on to lead famous orchestras and bands, which was without question. Later on, Denny Seiwell, famously with Paul McCartney, drummer for Wings, in the 70s, that would be the most recent example. But in the time, and there's Denny here in 1956 playing in the Lehighton Boys Band. What's interesting is Denny's great uncle, Irvy Young, from Young's Bakery Young's, started a band of renown himself and traveled the world and saw the world. And here he is in Cuba, and here he is in Florida, and etc. And there's Irvy there, also a drummer, just like his great nephew. The Waring Band. This man, I can't remember his name right off the top, but he played with Fred Waring's Pennsylvania band. The Dorsey brothers, you name it. This is Irvy's band while they were still in Lehighton before they started traveling. Very comical looking group there. And this is one of many pictures that are in the files at the band hall where we just don't know who the band member was, and this is probably Waring's orchestra with all the W's on, and there's a list of names. But I just think back at the beginnings of the band, and there's Irvy Young right there, and many others. Basically the first class of uh, of band members with Ulysses Hans's Pirates. This is probably out at Sailor's Lake with double barrel shotgun. Uh, and this is when the band played for their lunch, and they stayed there for a week or two, and they played and they entertained the guests, and they earned money for the band. Uh, and this is probably them in their mess tent, at Sailor's Lake. And I just admire this picture here. This is Flagstaff. There's Mel Hill. There's his brother Carmen, and there's his other brother. I can't remember his name. And just the fact that Mel Hill lived long enough to be part of the early days of the band hall, to be part of the big band era of the 1930s and 40s, and then for it to resurge again. It was nice to know that Mel lived long enough that and Mel's big band jazz ambassadors, as I remember them, etc. In the 80s, and how etc. This is an old list of all the different members who've gone on to renown in music. Some of it isn't quite correct. They have Carl Cooley. It really was his father was the director, etc., etc. But I didn't want to go this long. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on and on. But I just want to end here with, it's just a remarkable testament that our town has such a treasured institution. My father went through it. His cousin Ray Nooney went through the band, and they went into the Marines, and they were accepted into the Naval School of Music, as well as other band members who played in all the service academies, including Denny Sywell went to the Naval School of Music. And my point is, the Marines only get so many seats in the Navy band, and there were 2 seats open. And the way the story goes, and Nooney and my dad both got the last 2 seats that were open to the Marines because the director knew that they came from the Lehighton Boys Band Hall and that they had the reputation for excellence at the band hall. And I think that's just a great testament to our community and all the people over the years that have been part of it, that gave their treasure and gave their time and gave their sweat and toil to help others to enjoy music, and the men's auxiliary and the women's auxiliary, and that our community can reap the benefits of music. It's just we're just so fortunate to have it. And I just want to end with even though the big band jazz era of music is done, we still have, where my slide is, here it is. Brad Kresley still involved in town, running the opera workshop, running the men's band, director at Zion, has his own music store. Damian Walk that still plays. And I think that's it for that picture. And I have another picture here with Dwayne Reichert playing, and there's Damien again. And my point is, there's Dwayne, there's Brian Hoffner. I forgot to get the picture of Brian Hoffner on here from the early jazz band, and Brad Kresley. And it's just remarkable that we have a town as rich in music history and tradition that we do, and that there's still people that I played with back in the day at the band hall, and just many fond memories, and many fond memories of our leader Mel Hill and Kenny Leffler, and the band hall picnics at the band hall, and the cakewalks and all the parades, and playing at Dorney Park, and just part of my life that I'm just so glad, even though I was reluctant student at the time, I'm just so glad looking back that I was part of. Thank you. Keep it up. May we last another 100 years, and keep up the good work. And thanks for your patronage, and thanks for coming here tonight. And thanks, Peter.